Okay, so let's go to point. I believe we have watched these two lecture video. So I just we briefly talk about those important things that we need to know. Okay. So there are two parts, right? The first part, we learn what search engines are. And then more specifically, Google. Then we'll talk about SEO in general. Second part, we have white hat and black hat. So the white hat is actually based on Google's guideline, okay? And the black hat is something that happened before, or some of them are still happening. Okay, so let's talk about search engine. So, well, the search engine basically is just like Google, right? A software program is actually not just a whole operation that provides a result to people who want to search something on the internet. And there are two types of webs, right? And it's the service web that the search engine is interested in, not the deep web. Okay, the deep web are those like intranets, corporate, a lot of time authentication required kind of website or web pages. Search engine can see them, and they don't really care, for them. And why do we need search engine? Because there are tons and tons of pages and websites out there, and the problem is if those websites or web pages are random, they're not related, then you don't need search engine. There's no point in searching. Now, there's some very important theory that supports the development of search engines. So we have this small world theory, bow tie theory, supernode theory. Now, the small world theory is is something that's simple, right? And just like that human linkage, we all link it to each other by a few generations back, or 6 degrees of separation, something like that. It's same as web pages. Okay, back to the theory. Okay, it doesn't mean every single pages you can actually link to something else, or like like 19 clicks. Some of them maybe like 5 clicks, maybe more than it's 100 clicks. That's just a theory. Okay, now the bow tie theory is more important. Okay, it makes more sense. Okay, so you have in, out, you have SEC, and you want to be in SEC. You want to be part of the SEC. You want to just one of the websites in SEC, right? So you're the core. So people link to you, and also from you can go to somewhere else. But at least you want to be you want to be in here, right? You can go in, okay? You want to go in because this is most of people are interested in. Right? Most traffic are in. You don't want to be out. Certainly, you don't want to be outside. It's dangerous. So, just a second. And supernode theory is also important, and among the so many pages, they're supernode. This node actually provide connectivity for to other nodes, other pages. I can share you one story. A long time ago, I was in 2000, year 2000, 20 years ago. One time, I was invited to participate in some kind of research in one of the company, a networking company, in downtown LA. Okay, downtown there's a street called Wilshire, right? And there's a building called Wilshire 1. And that's the mean that building is located on number 1, of the Wilshire Boulevard. Okay. But that building, housed a lot of major companies. Okay, and then the seventh floor, it's a big building. And the seventh floor, when I went in, all I saw is just cases and chicken, like a chicken wire, all wires. You know what? That is most, where the most ISP have their servers in. And then why that? Because a lot of major companies are in the building, so they can just physically wire to that that floor, the seventh floor, and get a very quick and powerful connection. You think when 911 happened, people all of a sudden become aware of this supernode. Now, if that building get bombed, all of a sudden a lot of major company will lose their connectivity. Okay, so what happened? I think I clicked too much. Okay, so the implication. Okay, now here. The implication. Okay, for marketing, you want to be what you want to be. Part of supernode. If you're not a supernode, you're not that big. Now we're talking about like Amazon. I've been search in Google, Google yourself, okay, Yahoo.com. You may want to say CNN or some of the big social media website. They're super no. Okay, you want to become one of them. Of course, not everybody can become one of them, right? But at least you want to be connected, or you want to be from. You want to have a link inside. In the supernode and to go out. Okay. You also want to be in SEC or at least in section. These are very important kind of implication for for marketing and also for the search engine. Now Google is number one. All right. So I can't remember, this is 2020 year, June 2020, that's a year ago, the data, 90%. Of course, we may have some local search engine in different country, like in China, they have their own, search engine, that in that region, they're pretty big, okay? But and talk about international, Google, no doubt. Today, when we're talking about search engine, basically we talk about Google. It doesn't mean the other three, the 4 or 5, are not functioning, but they're just not making enough kind of impact on this search engine business. All right, how does search engine work? Crawl first, right? And what do you mean by crawl? Crawling. You send it, later on, when we work on the web API, we're going to learn one, ASP.NET class. That class allows you to send a request to a website and then download the page. So you need to specify what page you want to download. Now, if you don't specify the page, you only specify the domain, you'll get the default or index page. When you get that page back, you store that HTML, in a string variable, and then you can study it, you can analyze. Okay, you can strip all the HTML tag or some other utility, not content, related kind of content, and just read into the content and then do your whatever semantic analysis, or whatever. Okay, so that's very common. This crawling is really not, it's a high-end technology. It's just so ever since 20 years ago, I already in one of my classes we were actually create a program that was able to download some of the price from some major site and then create a comparison table. And nowadays that's very common, right? You go to Google itself, for example, you type a product name, you can go to shopping and basically show you all the product of all the sites, and also some of the sites even give you comparison. And these are very, they're very, very real time. Okay. And so what do you do? You need to have a domain name server. Now, every ISP, is required to have, a domain name server, okay, which contains domain name and also the IP address. Remember, an internet itself, okay, internet itself, based on the TCP/IP protocol, it does not, recognize your domain name like cpp.edu. It doesn't recognize it. It only recognizes IP address. So every time when you make a request from your browser, so the browser send that request to the nearest ISP, which has a copy of that domain name, and then get it resolved. So once the browser has that IP address, then the browser will send that that data packet with the TCP/IP as a protocol stack, at the very outside protocol stack to the internet, and that data packet will eventually arrive at the server. So we have that domain name, didn't go for number one, right? The first entry, and you start making a request to the first page, and get the second page, and usually before you do that, you want and the search engine will take a look at whether you have a sitemap, to store with them. You can submit it, submit a sitemap, to Google. So Google will go to sitemap and take a look at it instead of spending time constructing the sitemap itself. This takes time. Okay, Google, always remember, Google's goal is to provide instant result. Right? They have, super machine, racks after racks of the machine, supercomputer, and try, and located, dispersely, geographically in different places. They want to provide you with the fattest, result and the best result. So they don't want to spend time, So our job as web developer, we need help them. The way we help them is the way they help us. Later on, when we talk about the second part of the Google, Google guideline, these guidelines are something you need to follow. It's not that we're good guys, we're good citizens. We just want to follow them. No, the Google actually wants you to follow because they want to make their servers super. So if you have a sitemap, log with them, they just go to the sitemap without spending time, configuring, constructing the sitemap. Remember, Google had to read every single page of your website, and then do analysis and then index it. It takes time, and Google is doing this 24 hours, 7 days and 365 days. All right, they have so many. Remember back then that a long time ago, you change the content of your web page. It takes like 1 or 2 days, sometimes like a week, for the search engine in, let's say, Google, to refresh it. Now it's pretty quick. A lot of times it's a couple hours. You see the the new content. Like today when you read news, right? The news you go to go to read news. A lot of them like last minute. No, like 10 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. That means what? Means the search engine, or in this case, Google's search engine is crawling the webs, like nonstop, like crazy. So their goal is to make sure, our goal is make sure that we provide easy way for them to index our website. Okay, so there's just a series of steps here, right? So crawling the web, index the pages, based on real algorithm, and determine the ranking, save it, and then also catch pages, and then processing. After that, you have everything ready. Now, I'm not talking about everything ready at any point in time, but any point in time is still evolving, it's still changing. Okay, and then after the user submit queries, process that query, and then providing a certain result. Okay, so this is graphically illustrated. And what's information collected by web crawling? The head, the content, and so on. Okay, we'll talk more about it in the second part. And then we're going to talk about Google search engine, not just search engine in general. Okay, this is the search SERPs. Okay, the search result page. Now here, a lot of time when you search something, it show you, right? So 0.077 second. Now I think it's a lot less. Okay, this is their goal here, and you can see how many related kind of entries they have immediately from there. When they're from running their algorithm and go to the database and pull it out. This is Google is really that's why Google is huge. All right, so You can't beat them. There are some common search techniques. I think a lot of them are not using it, right? But for those people who are in charge of, Google search, their job, title or sub job, description, that is just about Google search. They have a Google search, Google for certain, research purpose or for some other, analysis purpose. Now today, because of this AI and also the technology advancement in automation, a lot of this kind of job can be automated by programs. Okay, the search engine. They I already talk about relevancy of speed. They want to provide the result with the most relevant kind of result in high speed, and they have the process between 200 and 10,000. They never told you how many. Okay, that's just a guess from the research. And how about the algorithm? Basically, it's latent semantic indexing. That's not a new technology, right? It was developed in late 1980s. It's more just about the natural language processing, and how you analyze data in a data set, and then figure out to index scheme to rank the whatever data items in there in that data set. And then later on they have this page rank. Okay, it's kind of old, but right, and then on top of it, they have human bird, very reason, and also this rank brain. I have a slide I talk about it. I'm not going to repeat it, okay? But these are very important. You got to, when you read it, you got to read what what does a specific algorithm does. What does it do? Okay. That's important. Then you understand why search engine come up with service. So this is LSI, and we have this page rank. Now, page rank is the one thing here. Okay, remember, it is named after the inventor of this algorithm. It is not the rank of the page. The rank in the page is actually layer rank. It's the last thing. Very important of this PR. It's based on the traditional library model. Let's say you have you go to a space, a library space, and where you have like 10 documents, 10 articles, 10 papers. Okay, the paper that been cited most is the most popular, or the books that been checked out the most is the most popular. So in terms of serving Google's customer, of course you want to tell them they say they want to look they want to check out a book in artificial intelligence. Then you go to see which book that has been checked out the most, right? Which you have checked out and also for a long time. Of course you want to return that as number one. Same idea. Okay, same idea. So it's very human, and also Google makes sense. The very bottom line of the rationale of the algorithm makes us a lot of sense. It is the traditional library model, or you should call that popularity model. Okay, and all right, this this is very important, right? So why it's important? This also has major implication on SEO. Okay, you see here we have this. This is a space. Okay, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in a website, for example. Okay, now A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and then E 8.1 is this, because this small guy is related to it. All right, and then so E, even though E has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, website link it to it. Now, but it is the page rank is not high, because the guy in the website that are linked to to E are not very don't have a very high page rank. In other words, these are not very popular guy. Okay, in other words, From the other hand, on the other hand, C, there's only one, it has only one link, and it links to B, and B is a big guy. And then C immediately has, a very high score. That's the idea, okay? In other words, you want your website, or your web page to be cited by a lot of pages, but you also want it to be cited by a big, website, a website that has higher page rank. Now, backlinks are very important. Okay, what do I mean by backlinks? Basically, just in a page that I link to you. All right, so A, B, C here. A and B are backlinks to C. And the algorithm is, okay, make sure that you understand how it is calculated. For example, a space of 4 pages, A, B, C, D, everybody is just evenly 0.25. And then if A, B, and C, and D are all backlinks to A, and then A's page rank is the sum of all 3. And then here's another different one. If 1 or 2 pages are actually linked to some other pages, like B is linked to 2 other pages, C is linked to 3 other pages, and then you have to divide the value before you add them up. This is the general form, but this is only idea. Okay, this is really not the exact representation of the algorithm. Okay, now you can go to this website, try it. This is actually you can play around. They go to the site. They give you a space of a certain number of documents, and you can configure the value and change it and see what happened, and to the page rank. Hummingbird, all right. So a page rank, rank brain was introduced after Hummingbird. The only reason is the learning machine, okay, machine learning, because it actually incorporates the most recent kind of a technology. Everybody's talking about machine learning, right? Using a very sophisticated learning algorithm. Some of them are using generic algorithm kind of a way to learn it through. So Google caught up, right? All right. So what is search engine optimization? They're on page, it's SEO, off page SEO. Now on page means whatever you can do, you have in control. You can work on your web pages. You can work on your website, not just a single page, the whole website. And off page means these backlinks. You have no control, but you have to try your best. And the problem is this is important. Everybody has to have it. Okay, so this has become what the on page become a competitive necessity. Now, off page SEO is a lot more important because it counts a lot more. Is not that easy to achieve. Okay, so you become competitive necessity, competitive, what do you call that? Competitive advantage. Okay, and of course, from our point of view, later on I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this on page SEO, online store. Okay. All right, so you need to note the difference between the on page, off page. SEO reality check. Google not telling you their algorithm. They will never tell you, because that's their live, the secret, the treasure. Okay. Yeah. So why do I know some of the algorithms? A lot of algorithms, they have to study their paper back, to like 20 years ago, and then start guessing. That's how we as academic, as research, do in order to understand, it's a search engine and their algorithm, like SLI, something like that. A long-term commitment is not just 1 or 2 weeks. I used to work with some, SEO specialists, and they usually, they come and they say, well, okay, now give me 6 months, and I'm going to do 1 month at a time. So they're going to try something out and then adjust it, refine their strategies, and try another month. and usually 6 months, and they're not going to guarantee you. They usually want you to provide, hey, give me like, 12, something called landing pages. Now the landing page, it doesn't have to be just the first page. It could be a category page, could be a subcategory page, or a product page. You need to find out which in the product, has the best opportunity for them to, for them to work on it. Eventually that can be ranked higher. Okay. And they charge you a bunch of money. All right. So, and another challenge is web servers, alter their habits. Competitors come and go, right? So these are factors when you do SEO. So SEO is only part of a larger marketing mix. So you don't just do SEO. There are some other way to do. You can just rewrite everything just on SEO. Or you may want to go for pay-per-click, right? I talk about when do you go for pay-per-click? If you want to, if you have a new product, you just want to tell the industry to know. Then you want the world to know. You have no time to wait. Then you do pay-per-click, pay in Google, so they can have you somewhere on every first page, and then you pay them every single link, every single click. Okay. Now also white hat, it's a black hat. All right. So the second, all right, the white hat and black hat. Right, white hat, black hat. Now, the white hat, the basic techniques that search engine recommend, like Google, they publish their own guide called Google's SEO Starter Guide. You can download it. They don't change it very much, okay. But every time when technology changes, they also kind of refine their starter guide. Again, okay, the starter guide is it's really for them, and you just have to follow. You have no choice. You make it easy for them. You follow the guide. You make it easy for them, okay. And your chance of being favored or being treated normally is higher. If you don't follow, automatically you make their processing slower. They don't like it. Of course, they don't want. Why do they have to make you higher? Right. Now, keywords are very important. Okay, there's a lot of keywords. Keyword using domain, keywords in your category, pages. So there are various ways for you to figure out what are the best keyword to use. Okay, so it's all here. Google has some utility that you can use too. You can also buy a program, developed by the third party called Keyword Suggestion Tool. And keyword guideline, don't be too broad, find what people are actually searching for, and so on. Keyword density is very important. That's something that we can control, right? So in any one pages, okay, Google will take a look at how many keywords do you have. For example, let's say you're selling a laptop, okay, and on the page you need to have a lot of word called laptop. But you can't just repeat that the word laptop without reason. Okay, your goal is to increase the density. All right, and there are two ways to do that: simply adding more keywords or reducing the number of non-keywords. Okay. So we have control. All right. How do you increase the density? Now, remember we have category page, right? So when you click desktop, for example, that page, okay, how do you increase the word desktop, for example? Now, every single product you can remember that you have feature product, right? You show them feature product. Every single product itself, you can say desktop, right? That's normal, legitimate. This product belong to desktop. Summary says desktop. Every image, you have alternate tag, or even the image itself, name itself, you can just name desktop. So these are legit. Or you can create some, two or three articles or a log on that page to discuss what desktop, the future of desktop, okay, the features or the futures, whatever. And no, so you're presenting, an article that talk about it, and usually, the user like to read it. They want to know more about that stuff. So you're providing user good information. If you are providing good information to the user, normally, and that's also the same way that Google want to provide to their user, right? So if you do the right thing, the page will be ranked higher. Now, if you just go in there, just hide a lot of, I remember, I'm sure that you haven't read, the Black Hat, right? One of the ways to do Black Hat is inside in the same page, you write a lot of, keyword, and write in the desktop by using the font of the text. The font color of the text is the same as the background color. So when you present that page, user cannot see it. But actually, it's in the page source, you have a lot of these, keywords. Google can very easily see it, right? You don't want to do that. Okay, so you want to figure it out. For a page, how do I increase the keyword? Right. So later on, I'm going to show you. Okay. Oh, hey, how about title? Right. We're gonna have some good, in every single, category or subcategory or product. Remember, in a table, you can have data field that contains good keywords. And then, so every time when you publish that, main category, for example, you go to database, pull out all the keywords, and just, insert that into the title. You can do the same thing for meta tag, for description, keyword, right? And we'll learn how to do that. Very, very easy to do it. Domain name, make sure that you don't want to get just domain name, less than a year. It's we were told that domain name less than a year, usually were not given enough attention by the Google. And then the starter guide itself, it's a lot of things to do. Okay, a lot of things to do. A robot text. On the root of your website, you could have a robot text. I can show you very quick. Do I have time? 07. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Just a second, let me go to my virtual server. Connect. All right, so let me switch screen to that. I think I showed you this before, my virtual server, and then now let me go to the File Explorer. I know it's kind of small, I cannot do it because I don't have control. They disable a lot of features. So you go to island pop and go www. I have a robot text here. So let me open it. You can see, these are the folders I don't want, search engine to visit. Okay. So can you see the Google? I mean the PowerPoint.
Mic on.
Can you see that? No. Oh, yeah. All right, just slow. Okay. Okay.
Mic off.
No follow. You can also do that in every A tag if you don't want them to Google search engine to visit one of the pages in certain places from the A tag and say no follow, right? Or the meta tag, you can also do that. So title, so what's good title, what's bad title. This is another thing. Okay, heading, URL. Now URL is something that's very important. Okay, now you see in our online store. Okay, in order for you to retrieve a subcategory, for example, you need to have what category.spx question mark and then main category ID. You go to something subcategory, a main category name or something, and then subcategory ID and subcategory name. So you have a long kind of query string. That kind of query string is usually not welcome, not recommended, by Google, because sometimes Google goes into problem, when reading it. Okay, so it's best that let's say if you want a customer to go to your desktop, page, category page, for example, you just say whatever your domain name / desktop. Or with a number or something, or say category and then desktop, or category and number. Okay, you want to use name, and that is also a way for you to increase your keyword density, natural, legitimate. Okay, so that's another thing. I'm going to show you how to do that today. Okay, so another thing, it's I don't need to talk about this. Just yeah, content, right? Off page is something that we can do. Usually, you have to hire, the goal is to get as many as backlinks as possible, and also get with the backlink with the high value. Okay. So there's some natural link, natural built link. There's some very good thing in the equity, link equity, a very important concept. This social media is very important. Okay, nowadays we used to have like SEO specialists. Today, all the SEO specialists have to upgrade themselves into social media specialists. Why? Because social media basically is a supernode. Social media basically provides you with a lot of opportunity for backlinks, right? When people talk about you, they also create a link to your page, and you have it. And when that page get viral, right? And the the number of backlinks multiply very easily. So so SEO right now is actually, I would just say a major work of SEO is part of social media optimization. So SEO is part of SMO right now, and I still have one set of lecture video about social media, and you get to watch it later. Okay. And today, when you talk about e-commerce, you have to talk about social media, because that's big kind of a marketplace, or people should call that not just marketplace. People call that market space. You're doing business. You cannot do business without paying attention to social media, and also, people talk about you, right? Your reputation is on social media. You have to know, what people are talking about you, how they think about your product, right? And engage with those people. Otherwise, once you have a bad reputation, the bad review, you can kiss your product goodbye, right? So social media is so important. Offline, you can do something offline too. Now RSS is very, it's RSS. Why RSS is important? Because let me show you what RSS is. Just a sec. Okay. RSS. Okay. New share. All right. Where do I go to my Google? I just run my Google. No, my Firefox. How come I get here? Okay, Firefox, right? Firefox, this, let me go to my website. You know, okay, my website. If you go to, let's see, 4250, I still have it now. Network slow. Come on, that's so slow. No, I don't have here. I used to have some here, but the link was broken. So let me show you. Let me show you the 4250. I still have it. Why is it taking so long? Strange. Come on. Let me go from here. All right. Oh, even my e-commerce, I don't have that here. Okay, you know, it's, I don't know what happened. I think if I run it from Zoom, just a second. Okay, they're all broken now, so I cannot show. What I mean by RSS is that, you know, I used to have what 10 items of news about, you know, e-commerce, you know, e-commerce. They all link back to this site. And this is actually JavaScript, okay? And that automatically, and every time we run this page, the JavaScript will be activated, and then you'll go to this website to pull out the RSS feed, and then I just, you know, display them here. And then every single link, when you click it, you go back to this website. So in terms of this, for this website, ECT News, they actually have a lot of backlink, right? When you create RSS, you know, to service, people use it automatically for this, you know, this web page. They have 10 backlinks from here. They all, you know, so that is why, you know, the RSS is also another important, you know, way for you to generate, you know, backlinks. All right, there's just some other, you know, search engine algorithm update. You know, and I'm not going to talk about Black Hat. Okay, you know, once you read it, you understand what these are. You know, it's good, but you're not going to practice it. But they're very interesting, right? Okay, now I'm going to coming back to the online development live, you know, guide, and I do have here SEO, you know, dynamic title and meta tag. So what you do is in the placeholder tag of the category ASPX, you know, it's in the in section. Remember, you know, when we create that template, that master, there are two placeholders. One is in the content, another one is on top inside the head section. So this is a place that we can actually use it, you know, to create some dynamic, you know, content. So what we do is, you know, in the in category SPX, okay, and that page specifically, you know, we add these, you know, to control. Okay. So let me go into my, let me go to my, all right, so in category.aspx. And I need to switch to Visual Studio. All right. All right, so let me get this category.aspx. Okay, it's here. Now you see here, we don't have anything, right? Inside the first placeholder, and we can place 3, and and then every one of them, because they're all HTML tag, right? So we have an ID and run our server, so it can be manipulated at runtime. So the first one we call that meta, description. Second one is meta keywords, and then we have a title tag. We call that dynamic title. Okay. And then what we need to do is in the category.aspx, and go behind. Okay, inside this page load, we then can do something like this. Inside page load somewhere. Okay, now, but usually what I mean somewhere is, let's say we do here. Okay. If the logic here will be changed once you put that search everything all together. Right? So let me just do it here. Because I have a subcategory, main category. So so let me do this. This subcategory again can be inside the subcategory here. Okay, and in the main category, when the main category ID is not blank at that time, we can insert the value of that main category name into the inner HTML property of that the tag, the meta tag. And for keywords, I just arbitrarily to print this hard coded in. Now ideally it should come from database, right? So here you can do your own database operation, go to that category and then go to that data field called keywords and bring out the keyword and then insert it here. Okay, and for the description, I just this is just for testing purpose. Okay, same thing. The description came from a table. Okay, now let me see if it's correct. All right, so let me go and run it. Okay, I'm gonna click desktop. All right, so let's read the page source. Okay, we have this, see, we have this meta tag, right? And the title did not, get changed. And title is here, right? Desktop. But there's one thing we didn't do. Okay, I think in the original template master page, I think we may already have, so let's take a look at it. We may already have a title page. Okay, now let me show you. So we need to get rid of it first. See this original template, master, we have this title here. We should, actually, we should just delete all these three. Okay. All right, so one more time. View browser. Click this desktop. You see, this is the title, right? Called desktop now. Okay? Now, if you view the page source, you're going to see, again, this title, the description all here, right? So this is one of the good examples that show you how we use, how we do this SEO to have better, more informative kind of title, meta tag, okay, and keywords too, right? Because inside the title or description, what I mean is inside this description or meta keywords, you can have a lot of good keywords. Okay, that's one thing. And the second thing is very, very important. It's called SU URL rewrite. Now, okay, what we have right now is like this, right? Categorize SVX main category ID and something, by just category ID. Or name. Okay. View card SVX, we can just say view card without saying .svx, right? Yeah, you can browse, the internet. I think a lot of websites today don't have this, anymore. The extension like PHP or something. If they still have it, that means that website is kind of old. Okay, so we all have to learn how to do this, URL rewrite, and then some, so they don't have this question mark, some ampersand, simply just by a nominal, by a name. Okay, and so graphically, this is like that. Okay, user view SEO friendly URL, not something question mark, and then when they submit that URL, and the server will convert it into something that back to the original, the URL, like this, because internally this is work, right? This work. Okay. And there are three approaches. One approach is you can do it on the web server level. In other words, remember, every time when a client send a request, HTTP request, and the HTTP server receives it, at that point you can deal with it. You can have the conversion rule, the match, the rule that to match it. Okay, so you can do it with double IS, and here's the thing: you can read more about it. You can also do that on the application level. Okay, using ASP.NET URL rewrite kind of rule. That's something I'm going to show you. Right, and the third approach is to just to buy third-party added URL rewrite to a module, and then connect that to your HTTP server or double IS, for example. Right now, if double IS 7 and up can do it, you may as well just do this. In the past, this double IS is 7, and lower than 7, don't have this rewrite. So you have to buy third party. So a lot of companies still have it. When they don't have time, to upgrade their web server from double IS 5, 4 to 7. Now even the upgrade, you still have to write a lot of code, a lot of rewrite rules. So they're still running. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how you do that application level. You know what? Because this is the easiest way, under your control. If your website is being hosted by an ISP, you don't have access to their web server, for sure. Period. and you can't do anything with it, right? But certainly from your application yourself, you can, you can do it by yourself. And this one, same thing. How are you going to tell your ISP, hey, I'm going to install, a component? No. So this is the easiest way. Okay. Now, what we do is, ASP.NET allows you to do, some, to rewrite, do some, to rewrite, rewrite, and store, the rules, the specification in web configure file. You just have to learn how to write, these rules. Okay. I have these rules ready, already written. It took a long time for me to learn how to do that. It's very, tricky. So I'm going to copy it and paste it into our web configure file and then show you and then explain to you, okay? Here. Now this is web configure file. Now I'm going to paste. The node is called system.web, the web server. Okay, and this is just the ASP.NET module name. Okay, just leave it there. And you want to do rewrite, and then you have rules, all right? And then you have individual rules. I have 3 rules right now. Rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. I can just say rule 1, and we better name rule 2, rule 3. Now, let's take a look at the rule. Rule 3 is the most, the easiest one. So you have a match. You want to match what? You want to match everything with a dot in the front. S3 means, just, everything, after that. So if the URL has a dot, something, I'm going to convert that into whatever .aspx. In other words, okay. Right now we have we have category.aspx. We have login.aspx. Let's use login.aspx example. Okay, and then in template, in a template master, let's go to login. The login here. We can just say login. We don't want people to know what what server-side scripting environment we're using. Not ISV. You don't know anything. Just log in. And also it's user-friendly, right? Log in. And once you have that, okay, and everything will come in, we're gonna do this. R means regression, regular expression. Number 1. There's only one here. We just add whatever from here. .aspx. So if the request come in as a login, and then internally we're going to convert that into login.aspx. Okay, I'm going to run this one first. Okay, view in browser. Now, can you see the browser now? You can, right? You see, when I mouse over login somewhere down here, just say login, but I'm going to click it. Okay, click it. It says login, right? It's not login.aspx. But when you make a request, okay, the web configure files will interpret it, convert that into login.aspx. So you should have this login.aspx. Okay, that's rule number 1. That's the easier one. And then I can have this category. Okay, I do something like that. I do category and then dash, and then some variable. Okay, and some variable. Okay, and then once once there's a pattern like this, internally we're going to convert that to category ASPX, and then main category ID equal to the first regular expression. Ampersand means what? Ampersand M. Semicolon means ampersand. And then we have this main category name R2 from here. Okay, so let's go back to the browser and let's take a look at it. Now, when I click this desktop, this is the original way. Okay, now I can do this, right? I can do I can do category -1 desktop. Okay, if I do like this one, I still get it. So let me do this one. Let me copy it. So I'm going to do no, from here, I'm going to do like 2 and dash, laptop. Click it. Okay, laptop. Right now, but we need to change the URL. So let me go back to Visual Studio and then go to template master, where the main category is. Now the main category is actually where here, right here. Right. Now we're going to change it. Right? I'm going to change it. We are going to change it to category and then dash and then the ID. And then here it's going to be ampersand semicolon, and then no, it's not. What is that thing? Dash. It's still dash. Okay. Dash like that. Right. So I have category dash and then the ID dash and the name. This is login, and then here, so when I click it, category 1 desktop, get category 1 desktop. I click, second one, 2 category, and this is user friendly, and I get a chance to, to increase one keywords, the number of keywords here. Okay, of course, this can be varied. It depends on what you want to do. I'm just giving you, a very, very, simple, kind of example. And the last one is deal with product. Okay, same thing. We do like product URL, and then whatever after that, I can do some. You can do something like this dash, whatever that. Okay, and then we put a ID, product ID, and that will be converted into product detail ASPX question mark product ID equal to R1. Okay, so let's run it. Right now, if I go to a product, it's like this, right? And I don't have a link right now. Okay, I just manually change it here. If I say product -1, you can put product and then the name of the product. Okay, I can still get it. Now I can change the 2, right? And change the 3. Okay. So I give you 2, it's a very important kind of implementation of the SEO on page SEO. Okay. You don't need to do anything new. You just take my code, apply to your own your own online store. Okay. And but when you show me, I will see it. Okay, I will just show me this, show me that. Okay. Any questions? The project,
no questions.
Okay, the project is due next Monday. Okay, remember, let's do this. At 5:30, you are going to Zoom in, and using my office hour Zoom ID, not this one. Okay, and first come first serve. Remember, I will spend 3 minutes with every one of you. Okay, hopefully, I can finish doing all the project. I only have like a few minutes. I need to take a roll real quick.
Professor?
Yes.
When you say the project's due, you mean up to K or the whole thing? up
Okay.
to letter K.
Okay, just a second. I need to go to letter K. I don't know what letter K.
It's log in and log out.
After today.
Okay.
Yeah. Today is you just copy and paste the code and make sure it works on yours.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
Sounds
want
good.
I don't want you just watch. I want you to implement it. Some you
Yeah.
just copy and paste. They're still learning, but some of you have to do it by yourself. All right. So how many people do we have in the room? Oh, not many people. There's some people, man. All right, Joselle.
Here.
Thank you. Steve.
Here.
Mic on.
Thank you. Lawrence.